So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hi villains and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast, a team sheet tantrum today for Villa versus Palace, a team sheet tantrum that very nearly didn't happen because whatever leave of my senses I took about 25 minutes ago, I decided, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw the little lady into the car. I'm going to throw my little girl into the car and I'm going to take her out to the beach for a walk on the beach. And as I sat into the car just about to turn on the engine, I went, 3:45. What am I supposed to? Oh crap, I have a podcast to do. So there's a little toddler inside who's walking around with a big face in her like this because daddy isn't taking her to the beach. So the things we have to do, the things we have to do, Paddy.
That's it. The joys of it all.
The joys of it all is right. But hopefully her father won't be walking around with a face like this in him in about 3 hours' time after Villa play Palace, because return back to Villa Park, Paddy. A lot of people we know are gone over to the game today. There's going to be a lot of people here in the chat, I think, today as well that are going to be at the game as well. I suppose really Villa getting back to Villa Park for only the second time this year in the league, looking to make amends against the Liverpool team who I've been watching it there earlier on, and they looked very, very pedestrian, albeit they've equalised. They look very pedestrian in that game against Wolves. So hopefully Villa can expel those that last game and right the record, I suppose, really against Crystal Palace today, Paddy.
Yeah, I don't think there's any excuses today. I think it's a case of we've had the bulk of this squad together for 2 weeks, albeit a few went on international break, but we spent the last 2 weeks getting people up to speed. I expect a couple of changes today. That man that was in your intro, Zaniolo, I'm hanging my hat on him starting today. I think it's the perfect opportunity for him to go and take the first step and make himself a big hero of Villa Park. I'm looking forward to seeing him from the start. I hope that's the case. Very excited. Different kind of excitement to what I had this time last week, where we were just, I think, a bag of nerves as the doors opened in our live podcast. So it's a lot more relaxing this week heading into watching the game on TV. But I have a serious FOMO looking at guys sending me pictures today. Pictures and videos of people drunk in and around Villa Park. And you know, can't have them all, can we, Neil? But we'll get there.
We'll get there again, yeah. And I suppose it is remiss. We should have mentioned at the top of the show that obviously Roy Hodgson was taken unwell urgently and it won't be in Villa Park today. So we wish him the best. A man of, look, I suppose there's no point in shying away from it. A man of his age, being taken unwell, and I suppose the stress levels that come with Premier League management and everything like that. I hope he's okay. It hasn't been announced whether it's anything serious or not. We obviously hope it isn't serious, and we hope that he recovers fully and can be back in a dugout ASAP. Because we said it beforehand, Paddy, that one of England, I suppose, and Britain's most unsung footballing men, I think, is fair to say about Roy Hodgson. Whether you agree with his style of football or not, from a footballing point of view, the man absolutely loves the game of football more than the majority of managers that have ever managed.
Absolutely, and a lovely, lovely man. I had the pleasure of being in his company a few times. I wasn't aware actually that he had taken unwell, so obviously I would have said that at the start. But yeah, as we alluded to in our preview, when you look at the clubs and countries he's managed, the guy is just eats, sleeps and drinks football. So hopefully he's okay. On the other hand, we'll probably see a bounce from the players to give him a good performance today. So it does, on the other hand, give them something to up their game for. So it is what it is. We'll have to counter that if that's the case. But first and foremost, as a person, I hope that Roy is okay.
Yeah, me too. And getting back to a point that you mentioned there as well about Zaniolo, as I say, we spoke about this in the post-match pod as well. I think it's very much going to either be Zaniolo or Longley. I think that's going to be in there today. So whether he goes to that three at the back, which to be honest with you, I hope he does. So I'm kind of in the minority. It's not because I don't like Zaniolo, but I really want him to invest in this in the three at the back, because I absolutely loved it for the 2 or 3 games where it happened, and calling it as it is against Liverpool. Yes, we were down 1-0 at the time when Diego Carlos went off injured, but I would have kept it at the 3 at the back, because that's what you practiced all week. Yes, I know they probably practiced the situation whereby they go 1-0 down, they have to go back to 4 at the back. I know they would do that as well, but I would have stuck with the 3 at the back and brought in somebody like Chambers or even Longley. And I know people are saying, well, who'd you put in the middle? Can we put Pau Torres in there? Is he good enough in the air? And I don't think you need to be good enough in the air to play in the middle of a back 3 like that. I think it can be done by committee, I suppose, who goes up for the ball. I know that may sound a small bit silly, but you can protect the person in the middle of a back 3 a small bit more. And if people are worried about Torres's ability in the air, and to be honest with you, I'm not as worried about it as other people are. I think it would be okay to play him in there as well. Obviously, you've got Kanza one side of him and Longley at the other side. But I'm open. I obviously want to see Zaniolo as well. It's just, if you do play a 3 at the back, I fail to see where Zaniolo fits in here, unless he's going to drop unless he's going to drop Kamara, because he's not going to drop McGinn, he's not going to drop Diaby, and he's not going to drop Watkins, I don't think, for this game. So it just becomes a kind of a game of musical chairs, and somebody's going to be left without a chair to sit, or somebody's going to be left with a chair to sit on, as opposed to being on the field. Yeah. With regards to that. So if he goes at 4 at the back, I expect Zaniolo to be in there in the place of Bailey. If he goes at 3 at the back / 5 at the back, I just don't see where Zaniolo fits in from the start, but obviously a wicked good player to be able to bring in off the bench.
Yeah, and look, it was great to see him back in the Italian fold during the week as well. So we've just got to wait and see in a few minutes what the team looks like, and try and decipher how they're going to line up from there. But I'm not expecting any huge surprises. I'm not expecting a bolter from Moreno or anything like that. I think he'll be nurtured back into this. Might see him get minutes during the week if he's up to it. But I've absolutely no fear of Pau Torres and his ability in the air either. Just to touch on that point, the guy is a remarkable footballer. Bit disappointed to see him go away for Spain and not get a run out. I would have liked to see him get some minutes and get some game time under his belt. If he wasn't going to play, I would have preferred him to be back working with the professor, but it didn't happen. Look, what can we do? We'll wait and see in a couple of minutes. But I want Zaniolo. I'm just crying out to watch him from the start. He's become a hero in my head. I just want to see it happen in real life now.
Last person to become a hero in my head was Sasa Churchich, Paddy. So I don't want anyone to be a hero in my head anymore. Just before the team is announced, there a couple of chats there. Thank you so much, Matt Hallinan. Points for podcasters and up the villa, he says, and thank you also to Danny as well for your lovely donation. Thanks a million for that. Just looking at some of the comments here. PSK, good to see you back in there. Greetings from a not-so-sunny Svalbard, Norway. Neil and Paddy, gutted to not be in Villa Park today. I don't even know what part of Norway that Svalbard is. Usually my Nordic geography is pretty good because I studied it for a period of time. But I have no idea where Svalbard is. So that's interesting. I'll be Googling that afterwards. C Line I says, I think you play a long way in the middle and leave Pau on the left, so he's space to step out and exploit teams with his passes. Yeah. I was thinking that as well, but I suppose Longley has experience in playing on more experience in playing on the left side of a back 3 and also playing as a left back as well. So my inkling would be to play him on the left. Paddy, the team must be out, I think, because I think it must be Zaniolo must be in the team, I would imagine. Let's share the team up here for everybody and see what we see. So the team is out. Everybody's starting 11. There he is. I picked the right man for the Chiron at the start, even though I think I did play the post-match pod intro at the start as opposed to playing the team sheet tantrum, so apologies about that. The team is Martinez, Cash, Kanza, Pau, Digne. So we're going with a back 4. Zaniolo, Kamara, Douglas Luiz, McGinn, Diaby and Watkins. I think that's a super attacking team, and I think that team is we're going for the jugular in this one, which is really, really interesting as well. The bench has 2 goalkeepers as per. Olsen, Marshall, Tielemans, Alex Moreno makes the bench. Chambers, Longley, Duran, Bailey, and then Donker back on the bench again. I think he might have been there for Liverpool too as well, if memory serves me right. But a really strong bench, a really experienced bench there, albeit Duran and Marshall, but still a really experienced bench. And that team to start off, best of luck to if Zaniolo and Diaby are played wider. I'm not saying played wide, but wider than normal. Best of luck to the Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace trying to funnel us down one side of the field, because you can imagine the swapping. I'm just looking forward to the movement and the swapping over of both Zaniolo and Diaby throughout the whole lot of this game, and the integration of McGinn in there with regards to the rotation of those three players. I've been looking forward to this. I've been looking forward to something like this, because we haven't had, I suppose, as attacking a lineup. When you play Bailey, you have to play him on the right hand side. You can't, like, we just don't seem to ever swap him around. And when we had Buendia in the team last year, we were able to do this with Buendia and McGinn. And to a lesser extent, they would move around between each other, whereas the Bailey would stay on the left hand side. Or if we have Buendia, McGinn, and Jacob Ramsey, while they didn't swap around as much, McGinn and Buendia did, but Ramsey would hog the left hand side. So I'm looking forward to seeing that again today. And with two real goal threats in Zaniolo and Diaby in there as well, and real forward-thinking players, this is saucy. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I've now got a serious fear of missing out of this one. It's it's just got a little bit spicier now. Looking at this lineup, I'm super excited from the lows of a boring international week to getting our teeth into this one. I'm really looking forward to see how it pans out. I think it's going to be super attacking, as you say. I think it'll be cautious enough at the back. And look, what's not to love here? There's nothing I'd really change with what he's done with regards to going for the jugular here. So I'm very, very happy with it.
Keep talking, Paddy. I'm going to type this out, because a lot of times people go, throw up the Aston Villa team again when we're talking about the Crystal Palace team. So I'm going to type it and put a ticker at the bottom there. Just so that we can have it and it can roll across the bottom of the screen. I'm just on McGinn, so I need to up my typing speed. And I've actually just realized I forgot Zaniolo. Zaniolo.
Stick him in at the end.
Gabby and Watkins. Yeah, so there we go. Scroll across the bottom. Add banner, and where are you going to? There we go. So that's what we have. The team is in, and we have it running across the bottom. Look at that for production value. Let's take a look at the Crystal Palace team as well. I presume they've announced their team, and they have, and they've gone. Oh no, they haven't. I thought they'd gone with my dreaded numerical order, but the team is in for them. And a start for Will Hughes in there, but Sam Johnston, former Villa player, in goals. Joel Ward, who I think we should attack. And I think that's why Zaniolo and Diaby are in there. The interchangeability of the two of them from both flanks. They're going to try and go at Joel Ward. Genuinely speaking, he is the player. Like whenever I name the best Villa 11 I've seen in my lifetime, I always name Mark Delaney at right back, and everybody says, "Oh, that's why I would attack." And I go, best of luck attacking against a fit Mark Delaney. Best of luck with that. And I think, if you were to ask a lot of Crystal Palace fans about who do they really rate from their Premier League stints so far, and somebody like Joel Ward would be their cult hero, I think, as well. So I often do him a disservice by saying attack him at every time, but when he's on it, he's pretty good. When he's off it, he is a weak link. So I'm going to continue with the attack Joel Ward sentiment here, and hope that he doesn't make me seem like a bit of an idiot in 3 hours' time. They have Richards and Anderson in the centre, with Mitchell at left back. Doucouré and Hughes are going to anchor down there with Lerma out. And then Ayew, Eze and Schlupp are going to be behind Edward. So there was a possibility, I suppose, that they might go with Mateta, who came in against Brentford, wasn't it, and got the assist for the equaliser, and I think he might have gotten the assists for the goals against Wolves as well. Their bench is Wayne Henderson, or no, that's Dean Henderson, isn't it? Has Dean Henderson got moved to them? Who's Henderson?
Is he?
It's not Stephen Henderson. I can't remember. I'm having a senior moment here, trying to remember.
Stephen
who that
Henderson is my
goalkeeper
age, Neil.
Stephen Henderson, yeah, I was there going, it's surely not. Anyway, it's probably Dean Henderson. I can't remember. They've got Matthews, Rob Holding, Nathaniel Klein, Rydwald, Amada, who's actually somebody I'm looking forward to seeing, obviously not against us, but at times during the course of this year, because he's a good player. Saki, Abioe, and then Mateta then as well on their bench. But they're good. They're going to go with their 4-2-3-1. It's as plain as nose in your face. Will Hughes is combative in there. Is he as good as somebody like a Lerma? I don't think so. But he knows the Premier League inside out, and he knows British football
And
inside out,
you will
and
get
he's a lot of goals played.
You will get 0 odds on him getting a yellow card today.
Yeah, he will be booked today. Absolutely booked today. That is 100%.
He is the epitome of horrible little fuckers you play against.
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind, but he's become one of those as he's kind of gotten older, because when he was with Derby, he was somebody who was played in behind the 10, in the 10 role at times, and he was like very forward thinking, very progressive, and he still is. He's still very good passer of the ball, but he's learned how to turn the studs and sharpen them as well, you know, as he's gotten older. So he's adapted his game to move back further the field, and you know, he's been knocking around the Premier League for the best part of a decade, I'd say, now, since he moved to Watford, and then obviously onto Crystal Palace as well. So yeah, I don't want to big him up too much or wish him well too much, but interesting team, I think, there. And it's going to be Paddy McCarthy, ex-Irish international Paddy McCarthy. I think he played with Ireland, 1 or 2 caps for Ireland back in the days when Alan Lee used to get games. I think for Ireland he might have played. He's going to be in the dugout for Crystal Palace today, with Roy Hodgson being absent as well. And I will have to Google if Paddy McCarthy ever played for Ireland. But Paddy Kelly, as opposed to Paddy McCarthy, seeing the two teams together at home. They're going to be down their manager. The manager who basically came in and joined them all together again last season. Paddy McCarthy was still at the club last year. You know, he was the intermediary between Vieira and Roy Hodgson, if I'm not mistaken. But down their manager, down the midfielder who had probably the best debut of I think Dan Bardell said he was the best debut of anyone in the Premier League, and via who scored. Are you more confident seeing the teams than you were prior to not seeing the teams, Paddy?
Yeah, I am. I've been saying to a few people this morning, I'd snap your hand off for a 1-0 win, and I still snap your hand off for any kind of win today. I think a win is important today, as it was after we lost to Newcastle to get back on the horse, so to speak. And I do believe we will go absolutely for the jugular today, and I'm expecting maybe a little bit better than 1-0. I'll go 2-0 today. Expect a clean sheet. Expect a couple of goals. Expect Zaniolo to have an absolute stonking game, and I'm just buzzing for this now.
Hope I don't have to clip that up afterwards, Paddy.
Yeah, when we lose 4-0.
yeah. When we lose 4-0 is right. So I'm going to give my view on it as well, because I think I'm really excited about this team. I think if this team clicks, if we get an early goal in this game today, I really, really want to see us with our tails up and our chests out. I want to see Ollie Watkins getting the score sheet. I want to see Ollie Watkins. I'm as I said, you know, I do look at statistics. A lot of the time, I don't really care about the statistics on a game-to-game basis, because anyone can have a bad game. And obviously you do. You look at them. But one of the big things I'm looking for is I want to see Ollie Watkins with a pass success rate of 85% or higher, because he's been loose with a couple of passes. And remember, this is the conductor of the Ollie Watkins bus here that's saying this. He's been loose with a couple of passes that have led to the breakdown, albeit in games where we've been comfortable. But it's the games that we're not comfortable as well. You know, we need him to be at least connecting the play, because he was super at that last season and he was scoring goals. But we do know he goes through barren patches as well with scoring goals.
Yeah.
And usually when he goes through those barren patches, and he puts in all the work in the world, but it's the connection with the passes has been something that I haven't seen as much from him, or the lack of connection, which I haven't seen as much from the last couple of seasons. But for the last couple of games, I've seen it, and I'm going, that's good. I'm going to be critical of him if he's wayward or these passes. But I want to see him score goals. I want to see him getting Diaby into the game. I want to see Zaniolo getting into the game. the biggest player in the field for us every single game we go out in this season is going to be Douglas Luiz, because he is our playmaker in there, whether you believe it or not. He is our playmaker. He runs everything from the back to the front, and I think that it's a favourable matchup for him today. Now, on the opposite side of things, I am worried about Eze. I am worried about just about the work rate of their forwards. I'm worried about Luca Dean with Jordan Ayew. I think they're going to attack the hell out of Luca Dean with Jordan Ayew, and what I mean by that is, I think Jordan Ayew will outwork Luca Dean all day long out there. He's not the most technically brilliant footballer, Jordan Ayew, but he will outwork him. He will try and outwork him over there. I'm a bit worried about that. So I would imagine maybe John McGinn is going to kind of favour that side of the field, with the Abbey playing in behind Watkins and then Zaniolo out on the right. So there is a big spotlight on John McGinn there as well, to get back a small bit more and to protect Luca Dean, because he didn't do it against Liverpool, and Liverpool did attack at Luca Dean and got lots of joy down there as well. It was his poorest game so far this season, I think. But that's me being overly critical and I suppose overly nitpicky on it. But I'm going to go. I'm going with 3-1 Villa. I'm going with 3-1 Villa, Paddy. So that was where I was going to end it. It was building up to a crescendo of 3-1 Villa, and I think there's going to be goals in this for Villa today. Because I really like that attacking lineup we have.
Yeah, and you touched on Ollie Watkins there. I think today is a big day for him, principally because I told you after the Liverpool game, I thought he played very wide. I thought he played out of the position that he played last season. He wasn't playing through the middle like he spoke about on a couple of occasions, that he was asked to play between the lines of the boxes and not do anything else. That's what we're going to see from him today, with the two wider players playing off him. I expect him to have a better game today. I expect him to be in his more natural position that he shone in at the end of last season. So spotlight on him. Not too worried about Jordan Ayew. Absolutely bugs the shit out of me, that man. From the moment he set foot in Villa Park, he bugs the shit out of me. So I'm not expecting too much out of him. I'm not expecting too much from Palace, but as you say, QR after match 4-0 defeat and me holding my head in my hands. But look, I don't see that happening. That's exactly, I'll just call it how I see it. Call it more blind fandom than anything else. It's just, I'm just so excited about this game now. I'm just so looking forward to seeing Zaniolo from the start.
Here's another man as well that's looking forward to seeing him. Noah Connaughton says, we are staying up. We are staying up. That's an in-joke for us as well. But greetings from the Galway Leitrim correspondents in the Barton Arms. So there's a good contingent of people gone over there. Noel is over there. There's Ronan is over there as well. And Vinny from Cudahoua Gaming is floating around in Birmingham somewhere. So if you see a Bill Bailey lookalike that's mad for points and has a Cork accent that's running around Birmingham, that's absolutely beside himself about using Paddy's tickets to go to the game today. Say hello to him, because Vinny's one of the good guys, and he's having a fine blowout today because he's got a little bundle of joy on the way soon. So he's a man after my own heart in having a few kids to kind of keep him away from Villa Park. So if anyone does bump into Vinny, and Vinny's been on here a couple of times, so some of you who watch the podcast regularly will know who I'm on about, for sure.
Yeah, he video called me at 8:20 this morning. Vinny, obviously in the height of halfway between hungover and still drunk, and he was getting up to have a pint at that stage. So I hope he's in a fit state to get into the seat of Villa Park today.
I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will be. So my 7, Paddy have nailed their colours to the mast. Paddy's saying 2-0 Villa. I'm saying 3-1 Villa. Start popping your scores into the chat there. I'll do my roundup, and we'll get out of here in time to get settled in front of our completely 100% legal streams before the game. Do not put streams into the chat just in case, because every time you mention streams, I see people put them in. I have to start removing like mad afterwards. So if you're watching this back afterwards, do not put streams into the chat here. We'll get banned off YouTube, and then the crack will be all over. So start popping your scores in there, and we'll go down through them. I suppose one last little final piece on this, Paddy, as well is, and I know we've discussed everybody in depth. I suppose the only person we haven't really discussed in depth is probably, or there's only two people, probably Boubacar Kamara and Matty Cash. Boubacar Kamara, obviously, teams have found out that not so much as found out, but there's games where he's tons of space and there's games where he doesn't have tons of space. And I think there's times in games when he has tons of space and times when he doesn't. And I think when teams give him space and then he's to adapt to not having space, he finds it difficult to adapt at the drop of a hat. He needs to kind of warm himself up into it. And I've seen, looking back at the Liverpool game, was it the Liverpool game? It was. And definitely the Newcastle game. Newcastle game was different. He was just completely out of position. But in the Liverpool game, they gave him a bit of space early on, for maybe the first 10 minutes. And then they closed him like mad. It was Salah was on top of him, and then Salah was on top of Pau Torres, and they pushed him back onto the back. And this is where I go with getting pushed back onto the toes of your centre halves. Salah was brilliant at being able to close down both the centre half and the six against Liverpool. And why was that? Because Liverpool had put him into a situation where they had to be so close together that Salah could nip at both of their heels because he's so good and so dexterous at moving left and right. And it goes to show that Pau Torres only had one successful pass out to Luka Dean in that game against Liverpool. Yeah. So it's huge. It's a big dichotomy. We have to find a way to keep the spacing between Kamara and Torres wide. And if we can't do that, drop Kamara in as another centre half. He's familiar with playing there. Go with three at the back and kind of create the space between midfield and the back 3/back 4. It's pivotal for us to be able to succeed that we have that spacing there, specifically if we are to pass through the lines. So big thing I'm going to be looking for in this game is that as well. So
and in fairness, the three boys up front will create that space. It will drag teams further off our midfield because there will be an element of panic there, and that's. Yeah. You know, it's definitely going to happen. And the right to play three up front today in a game where the midfield is going to be very compact because it will create space for those guys to try and unlock the defence. So you can expect to see more time on the ball than would normally if we went toe to toe with a 4-2-3-1 or similar in this game. So I think the three up front will cancel out the fact that they will stifle the midfield because we won't see the ball go through it as much.
Hopefully so. So let's get our roundup done. Stephen L. Wright says 3-1 Villa, and he said that there's a cold winter coming in there in Finland. Stephen said so. Hunker down and hopefully everything's okay for you up there. Spicy Pricey says, I thought Spicy Pricey is. I'm sure you've got a score prediction in here in a minute, Spicy. But we weren't laughing at you, Stephen, there when we put up the ha. Captain Nugget says 3-1 Villa with Watkins, Zaniolo and Diaby. That would be brilliant. Rachel says 2-1 Villa. Would love a clean sheet though. Michael O'Brien says 4-0 clean sheet time. Music Junkie says 4-1 Villa. Rob Henry says 3-0 if we score early. Squeaky 2-1 if they do. Tony Belfast says 4-1 to Villa. Sai says 3-1 to Villa. Sniffrat says 3-1 to Villa. Stephen Brown says 2-1 Villa. Aidan D says 3-0 Villa. Watkins, Brace and Zaniolo. I would love that. I'd love this even more. C Line says 4-1 with Ollie to score 2. Zaniolo and Diaby. Palace will sneak a late consolation. Matt Parker's going for 2-2. John Steele is going for 3-0 Villa. Ed Walsh is going for 4-1 Villa. Tom Fleming going for 2-0 Villa. Watkins come good for his fancy Premier League. Ollie, good to see you, Ollie. Ollie was at the live show last week and has tons of photos up. Thanks for taking photos, because I'll be honest with you, myself and Paddy didn't take one photograph, I'd say, of the thing last week. So we've been living vicariously through your photographs of stuff that we did. So I don't know, are we living vicariously through the photographs if it's photographs of us? There's a theological question for somebody out there who's smarter than I am. Ollie's going for 3-0. Blake is going for 5-0. Dan Ferry's going for 2-0 Villa. Zaniolo and Watkins. Mark Holmes, all the way from Oz, is going for 4-0. Kylie Stend is going for 2-0 to Villa. Cat Cannon is going for 3-1. Jordy Villan's going for 12-0 Villa at half time with a mad comeback in the second half by Eze and finishes 5-4. Somehow it finishes 5-4.
Or should that be 15-4?
I think it's 15-4, yeah. Shane Coleman is going for 2-0 Villa with a Watkins brace. Mike Kane is going for 3-1 Villa. Savs Veli is going for 2-0 Villa. Spicy Pricey is here. I knew he's going to have a score prediction. 3-0 Villa. Diaby, Zaniolo and Diaby again. Brendan Townsend is going for 3-0 Villa. Mark Brannigan's going for 3-2 with Zaniolo to score in his first start. Just Roy is going for 2-2. Damien is saying there will be goals, 5-2 Villa. God, I could imagine the video call you'll get from Vinny if Villa score 5 after this, Paddy. Be Happy is going for 3-1. Tom Cowley is going for 4-1. Neil Noble is going for 2-2. Richie Ryan is going 2-0 Villa. Kevin Donnelly 3-1 Villa. And Padjo's mashup is going for 1-0. And that rounds out the roundup for today. Aston Villa versus Crystal Palace. As I say, we do have to finish up a small bit earlier today. Because as I say, I'm going to have to do something with the small lady inside, because I did promise her to go to the beach, but I'll have to come up and I'll have to try and win back her love again when I go back inside. But as I say, I'm really excited about this today. I'm looking forward to a good game from Aston Villa. I'm looking forward to putting a couple of things right against Crystal Palace today, but Crystal Palace will still be no pushovers, as must be said. They're a team that will come out here and play for the manager. A lot of the players that are going to be starting today would have been players he would have had at the club prior, and prior to in his first stint, should I say, there. So they're going to be playing for this man like no one else. And I think it's not going to be an easy game. And I love that comment that Savas Veli has there. Padiolo, short printed of Zaniolo scores. Yeah, I love it.
I think I might get that one on mine.
I'll get on board with that as well. I'm going to get on board with that as well. So thanks very much, everybody, for watching. Thanks very much, everybody, for listening. If you're listening back to this afterwards, thumbs up, likes, all that shenanigans, and subscriptions. We're nearly at I can't remember where we are. I think we're nearly at 6,400 subs. Also, something went mad on Twitter. We're nearly at I think we're like nearly at 8,500 followers on Twitter, which is amazing. If anybody out there doesn't use Twitter and wants to give us a follow, that'd be cool as well. Because it just seemed to creep up on us. For some reason, I thought we were only ever on like about 3,000 followers on Twitter, and I happened to look at it yesterday and I went, Jesus, where did the 8,000 come from? But as I say, it's great, and thank you so much to every single one of you for your support. I really, really appreciate it. So that's going to do it for us. Hopefully Aston Villa will be victors today in Villa Park and put on a good show for everybody who's going. In the meantime, we will be back with a post-match pod right on halftime, or right on halftime. Hopefully the game is over at halftime for us. That would be brilliant. Right on full time, about 5 to 5, we will be back with a post-match pod, and we'll break everything down as best we can and have no rationale for what we're saying, because it'll be all heat of the moment stuff. So I hope you join us at 5 to 5, and we will go through it then. But in the meantime, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.